Hey friends, my name is Jennifer and I moved to the UK from East Tennessee in 2025 with my British husband and fur babies. My goal is to explore and soak up as much of my new country as I possibly can. So let's see what adventure awaits us today. Hey guys, today we are in Bristol, and for the big draw, there's a few things that draw people to Bristol. The first thing is the scene. It's a place where graffiti was very influential in graffiti art. It's also a huge music scene. Massive Attack is formed in Bristol, so definitely the scene. Another big draw to Bristol is the SS Great Britain, which is often called the ship that changed the world. This was a former passenger steamship that was very advanced for its time. It was from 1845 to 1853. And it was designed to be a transatlantic service between Bristol and New York City. So kind of a big deal here. This next big thing that people love is the Clifton Suspension Bridge. And it is considered just an absolute marvel of Victorian engineering. It's one of the world's oldest surviving iron suspension bridges, and it was designed in the early 19th century for horse-drawn traffic. However, the structural integrity, according to their website, remains so strong that it safely carries over 11,000 vehicles a day without needing any structural strengthening. So that's pretty impressive. So it was quite loud in Bristol with a lot of music and performance and stuff going on. So we're doing voiceover today. So for our literary connection, this is the former birthplace of the poet laureate Robert Southey, who was a romantic poet who was born in Bristol in 1774 and remained poet laureate until he died. I think the original site is no longer there, so they've plaqued where it used to be. So I gave you kind of 360 view here of what that looked like. The next connection here is the former bookshop of Joseph Cottle. Cottle was a publisher who first published the poems of Coleridge and Wordsworth and Southey. So he was a very famous, well-known bookseller and publisher. So that was right here on the high street. So I wanted to make sure and get that for you guys as well. And then lastly, we are stepping up here to this building. It's called the Red Lodge Museum. And this was a building that was purchased by Lady Byron, as in the wife of Lord Byron, using his endowment. And it was given to Mary Carpenter to establish the first ever girls' reformatory school in the nation. So that is the association with this building with Lord Byron and Lady Byron. It's actually a really cool looking building. So you can see they still have that the red door for the Red Lodge Museum, and right here is the plaque commemorating that it was connected to Lord and Lady Byron. For our pop culture call out, we are going to go Banksy exploring. So Banksy is from Bristol, and his work and some of his pieces are found all over the city. So I'm just going to show you here some of the ones that we saw. It is so cool being able to walk around and see these. I loved this Mild West. It is on the side of this building. You can see the Banksy parts kind of worn over time. A lot of these have also been protected, like this one, for example. This is literally on the side of somebody's house. And I think it is so cool that the people have protected this so that it can stay kind of intact. And by the way, if you know much about Banksy, you'll know the Massive Attack connections, etc. I have a pretty good idea who I think Banksy is. But again, it was just really cool to be able to walk around and see these. This is actually in a museum. So some of them are in a museum. And there were a couple that we wanted to see that we didn't have time to see, including another one that was in the museum, the Paint Pot Angel. But they were so spread out. Things close at 5, so we did the best we could. But this is the Grim Reaper inside a museum. And then this one, that's the M Shed, by the way. This is my absolute favorite one. I think this one is called The Girl with the Pierced Eardrum. This is literally on the side of the docks, and it's just like you could pass it and not notice it, but when you do, you're like, wow, that is such a cool piece. So that's probably my favorite one we saw. And then this one is called, I think it's called The Well Hung Lover. But yeah, so this again, it's just on the side of a building, just Banksy stuff everywhere. So pop culture, it's a big deal. And there's even some Banksy walking tours that you can do in Bristol that will literally take you around to all the pieces. But it was so cool. For lunch, we ate at a place called Noah's, which I highly recommend if you like seafood, because it was fantastic and it had this nice terrace. It was just really good. I had some mussels as an appetizer, not something I would typically order, but I wanted to try something different. Really loved the flavor, the texture. I just couldn't get down. And then I had this grilled plaice, which was so delicious but so full of bones, with some chips and some mushy peas, and Alex had some chicken and some chips. So highly recommend, really good place. All right, let's explore. So the first thing I want to show you guys is called the Clifton Rocks Railway. And this is a railway station that ran from 1893 to 1934, and then later served as a World War II BBC relay station. But this runs 450 feet through a limestone tunnel, and it is so bizarre. It is carved out of the side of this mountain. It is creepy. I mean, you can see they've cemented in the windows and all the doors and stuff so people can't just explore inside. But I don't know, because it was like right on the side of the road, and because it is just this creepy abandoned, like in rock underground, in tunnel through mountain entrance, it is just super creepy. And I asked Alex, I was like, do you find this place to be creepy? And he's very much not indulging in the dramatic. And he was like, well, I wouldn't want to be inside there, be here at night. And I'm like, yeah, there is, even he could see there was something about it. It was just like, ooh, weird. All right, the next place we're headed up. Now, I've got some views here of some other streets that aren't quite as steep in elevation, but we're getting ready to go to Vale Street, which is England's steepest street, apparently, with an elevation gain of 17 meters. But first, we had to climb these steps, and oh my gosh, those steps were insane. Definitely felt that workout the next day because it was a lot. So once we finally got to the top of these steps, as you can see, this is Vale Street looking down into it. So again, it is the steepest street, and when you're walking down on the sidewalk here, you really felt like you were falling. It was that, I know it sounds like I'm being all sorts of extra here, but it really was so steep that you felt kind of like you were falling. I wished I had had hiking boots on instead of my Skechers Go Walk, just because I needed the grip, quite honestly. So we also had to carry our little doggies down here because I was just worried. I was worried Gigi was going to take the wrong step and just tumble from the top to the bottom. But apparently they used to have to tie their cars to these little street poles that they had. So in case it got slick, the cars wouldn't roll down. But as you can see, what they've done is they've done a ditch so that people can park their front tires in the little ditch to help ground their car. That is how steep this is. Is that not crazy? You can see the ditch there. So, and you can see like the tires are in the ditch. So yeah, steepest street. You can look at me there, like I clearly am trying to like not fall down that mountain, not fall down the hill as steep as it gets. And then once you get, I mean, you can see like how it is pushing against me there. And once you get to the bottom, you got another little set of steps before you get back to the street. So it was actually a very, very kind of intense little trip to go to Vale Street. So be sure to check that out. All right, next we are headed into or towards the Redcliffe Caves. Now these are a man-made series of sprawling tunnels underneath Bristol, basically underneath the Redcliffe district. And they were historic mines that were originally dug in the Middle Ages to extract sand for glass-making pottery. But now they are used for special events. They often put up chairs inside these tunnels and lighting and have various kinds of things. Obviously, it was locked when we were there, but I did want to show you the entrance because it's just, I'm just fascinated by the idea that there's just tunnels underneath the city. Shout out to the catacombs in Paris, which I would never go into. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys this entrance because it's really cool. Next, we're moving into the Hermit's Cave and this Quaker burial ground. So at the end of this little footpath is a cave. It was a medieval cave that used to shelter local hermits. Now it houses over 200 Quaker gravestones, due to apparently there were nearly 200 of the headstones that once covered the area and neatly stacked and placed into the cave where they can be seen today, as you will see in a second. So I think it was a situation where there was a capacity that was reached in the burial ground and they had to do something with all of these tombstones. So now they reside inside the Hermit's Cave. And it says here that there are 177 small. I've heard or seen 200. But the earliest one is from 1669. The youngest was 8 months and the oldest 99 years. So there are those stacks of headstones, which is just bizarre and weird. And because it's just that, who has the key to this? These are things that I really wonder. Who has the key to this gate and why? And do they ever go in here? It's like somebody has that. It's so bizarre. Finally, I had to show you guys this. So this is the Seven Stars pub, and this was a huge thing for the abolitionist movement. In 1787, Thomas Clarkson used this pub as the base of operation to help abolish slavery and the slave trade in the UK. And first of all, I'm so impressed with this guy. Look up Thomas Clarkson and read a bit about him. He was such a good person who did such good things. But this little pub is tucked into a back alley, and it just feels like the center of an abolitionist movement, and it just feels like a cool place where history has changed. I'll take a moment to visit here and just experience this. All right, for some don't misses. The first thing is the Corn Exchange on Corn Street. It is from 1743, and now it is a huge indoor market. So I'm just going to go through here so you can see some of the highlights of some of the things. You could honestly come in here and spend easily a couple of hours browsing through these stalls. So it's a huge indoor market, and they have a little bit of everything. Truly, there is a little bit of everything in here. As we're moving through here, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you about the clock outside, which is the Corn Exchange time clock. Apparently, before the UK went on a standard accepted time, each place had their own time, and Bristol was one of the firm holdouts that didn't want to go to a unified time. Ultimately, they did, but their time, their traditional time, would have been 10 minutes slower, I believe, than the standard time. So this clock that sits in front of the building, in front of the Corn Exchange, it has 2 hand minutes, one for the standard time and one for the Bristol time. So as you can see, the Bristol time is the black one, and it is exactly 10 minutes slower. Pretty cool. I wanted to show you, there are these metal platforms all over, which are called the nails, and they were built traditionally to do trade on so coins wouldn't fall off. So they're still there in front of the stalls. Finally, the last thing I wanted to show you was the Landauer Trow. I hope that's how you pronounce that, but this dates back to 1664 and is one of Bristol's most historic pubs. It is huge on the outside. It has this huge garden in front for nice weather. I'm getting ready to head inside and show you the inside in a second. But it's linked to pirates. It's supposedly incredibly haunted. And I could definitely feel that vibe because it was spooky. As soon as we walked in this room, Pink Moon by Nick Drake started playing, which was amazing. Shout out to my Marlboro video. So yeah, it was really cool. All right, guys, that's it for my tour of Bristol. So we're going to end here at Bristol Temple Meads, which is a beautiful train station. But let me know in the comments down below what you thought, what city you'd recommend that I head to next. And I hope everybody's doing great, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!